Xcode, Sample Project Simple Zen Meditation, Part 4 and 5. In this last chapter, we have seen how to get the change in the value selection of Picker View and how to update the label based on the selected value. We can see that the project Simple Zen Meditation is open from where we have left it in the last chapter. First, let's build and run the application to see the current status of the application. We can see that the application contains the various UI elements we need on the screen. We can also see the UI Picker View with two components, interval and duration, and the corresponding contents populated. As we can see, when we scroll the Picker View and change its selection, the label is getting updated. Let's stop this and move forward. Open the Interface Builder file. Insert an activity indicator to the project by dragging and dropping the activity indicator object from the Objects section of the Interface Builder. Create an outlet for the same in the interface file. Implement the getter and setter methods for the same. Link the activity indicator view added in the Interface Builder to the outlet we have just created in the interface file. Go to the implementation file. Move to the end of the ViewDidLoad method. Here we are going to implement what to do when the app launches every time. First, we have to check whether there is any saved file with the previously selected duration and intervals value in the documents directory of the app. This can be done using the File Exists at Path method of NS File Manager. This method will return true if the file is there and false otherwise. If the file exists in the path, then we have to read that file and assign the values for the interval and duration strings. We can read the saved file using the initWithContentsOfFile method of NSArray. If the file is not there, we will set the default interval and duration string values to 4 minutes and 20 minutes respectively. Next, we have to set the selection of the Picker View as these values. This can be done using the SelectRowInComponent animated method of the Picker View. This method is called using the Picker View object. The first parameter given to this method is the row number. We can convert the string we initialized with the row number to an integer using the integer value method of the string object. The second parameter will be the component number. In this case, the component 0 is interval and component 1 is duration. The third parameter determines whether this new selection should be done in an animated way or not. Next, based on the duration value, update the label text with the duration selected. Next, we have to use the NS Notification Center to add the observer for the notification termination. The object passed to this method is the UI application object. The Add Observer Selector Name object method can be used for this method. The first parameter is given as self to denote the current class. The second parameter is the selector to be called when the observer is triggered. The third parameter is the name of the notification to observe for. In this case, the notification to observe for is UI application will terminate notification. The last parameter is the object, which will be given the UI application object of the current class. Now go to the Start method, which will be called when Start or Stop button is clicked. Here, start the background music player with a low volume. We can set the volume of the player using the volume property of the player object. Next, get the time in minutes and convert it to seconds, which we will need later. Use the NSTimer object to schedule the method every second. Now we have to implement the timer method. Inside this method, let's implement the set of code to track the time in seconds and minutes. Based on the duration selected and the current time, we have to implement the code to invalidate or stop the timer using the invalidate method of the timer. This should also be included in the timer method. The code to play the sound after each interval is also implemented here. So now the timer method is ready. Let's move to the Start method. Since we are using the same button for Start and Stop, we have to check the title of the button to check whether it's in start or stop mode. We can use the title for state method for this. The parameter passed to this method is UI control state, which denotes the normal stage of the button. If the title of the button is stop, then we have to implement the code for stopping the actions. Inside this block, we have to stop animating the activity indicator and also stop the background music. We also have to enable idle timer for the application. After this, we have to set the title of the button as start, invalidate the timer method, and play the end music. Also set the title color of the button to black. Similarly, if the button title is start, then we have to implement the code to start the actions. First, we have to start animating the activity indicator. Then change the title of the button to stop. Next, we have to disable the idle timer for the application. Also change that title color of the button to red. We have to start playing the sound also here. Run the application and press the start button. We can see that the activity indicator starts animating when we press the start button. But we can see that the title of the button is not changing to stop once it started, and also the activity indicator is not stopping. This is because we haven't connected the outlet for this button to the button object in the Interface Builder. So open the Interface Builder and connect the outlet for the button. Now go ahead and run the application to see the difference. Press the Start button. We can see that the title of the button is changed to Stop in red color. Also, the activity indicator starts animating. Now press the button with label as Stop once again. We can see that the title of the button is changed to Start in black color. Also, the activity indicator stops animating. Now go to the implementation.file inside the play clicked method. Add the code to play the background music. Similarly, add the code to stop playing the background music in the mute click method. We can reorder the objects in the Interface Builder by dragging and dropping to its actual order in the Objects listing section of the Interface Builder. Run the application, and we can see the application working with toggle a play and mute button also working fine. So our application functionality is almost over. Now we have to check the orientation of the app. For that, run the application and change the orientation of the app by using the keyboard shortcut Command plus right arrow or Command plus left arrow. Let's make the orientation of the simulator to landscape orientation from portrait. We can see the layout is changed completely, and some of the elements are not even visible on the screen. Let's fix this by limiting the orientation of our application to only portrait with no support for landscape orientation. For this, open the View Controller implementation file and go to the Should Auto Rotate to Interface Orientation method. This method will be called every time the device or the simulator is rotated. Remove the line of code which limits only the portrait upside down orientation. Here just return No. This will limit all the orientation change from the first orientation of the device. Run the application. Now rotate the simulator. We can see that the orientation of the app is not changing. Add the code to stop animating the activity indicator in the ViewDidLoad method and run the application. We can see that the application is working with all the functionality. So this is how to create a simple Zen meditation application in Xcode. You can use the tutorial files along with this video to experiment on your own and to see the code in full action.